Well, I'm here this morning with my family to make an announcement, and it's this. God is calling our family out of Alaska. And he's calling us to bring life in Christ to the world beyond. He's calling us to be full-time missionaries. Full-time missionaries. But we owe it to you to tell you the story and explain this, okay? And I want to start by just going to Ephesians chapter 2. Ephesians chapter 2, starting in verse 8, it says, "For by grace you have been saved through faith. This is not your own doing. It's the gift of God, not a result of works, so that no one may boast. For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them." Some of you know my story. By grace, I have been saved through faith. I have been hanging around this church almost every day for 21 years. And all it took were 3 visits back in summer of 2002. But in the summer of 2002, I had 1 foot in the world and 1 foot in the things of God. And those 3 visits led up to Palm Sunday, April 2003, where in the context of our worship, our singing, and the preaching, is the one time in my life that I really felt like I heard God speak to me. And he said to me, "Move to Alaska and don't worry about anything." And so I did. And everything that I have become, everything that you have enjoyed in me, in this family, is a result of saying yes to God's call to come to Alaska, stepping out by faith and just receiving all that God had prepared. It was August 10th, 2003 that I found myself in a starting point class, which is ironic because that's the one I teach. And the guy that was preaching through the story of the prodigal son. And at the end of the scriptures, he said, "You're either a victim of your pride or you're a victim of your passions." And when he said it, it was like the key went into the bolt of my heart, and it turned and it turned, and the lock came off. A victim of your pride, a victim of your passions. I was like, oh no, that's me. And right after those questions and right after that conviction in my heart, he offered the gospel message, which I had never heard clearly before. And I said yes. And from that day forward, I just walked forward for 20 years, and I did it here in this church. I didn't ask for the gift of saving faith because I didn't even know what it was. God just gave it to me. Think about that. Can you think of gifts that God has given you that you didn't even know you wanted or needed? Well, the verse continues, "We are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them." So a big part of over 20 years in one church is learning who you are, learning who I am. And here's what I've learned here, that God made me to be a husband. God made me to be a friend. And God made me to be a pastor. Not only a pastor, but a care pastor who walks with people through all kinds of craziness. Who would sign up for that? Me. That's how God made me. And I never knew that I was going to have I never knew that I was going to have an amazing life. And God walked me into it and showed me who I am. How about you in your life? Can you think of gifts and skills and abilities that God has grown in you that have surprised you? So God's calling our family to a new work, a new thing, and we are going to be full-time missionaries with an organization called Ends of the Earth Cycling. Very unique. They lead extreme cycling trips, camping trips, adventures, mission trips all over the United States, all over the world. In the next 6 months, our ministry will be in Key West, they'll be in Colorado, they'll be in Utah. And all of those experiences are for missionaries that work in foreign countries like Thailand and Brazil and India. Ends of the Earth Cycling gives families and individuals the opportunity to do what I would call a vacation with a purpose. And the purpose of every trip, everything that they do, everything that's cool and exciting about an adventure has the primary purpose of resourcing and elevating and praying for and making much of the work that God is doing in the world. It builds a bridge between the church in the United States and amazing work that God is doing overseas. Our new ministry supports orphanages, anti-sex trafficking ministries, Bible schools, Bible camps, and youth ministries that are really making a difference. And I would say are largely unknown and under-resourced from the lens of the church in the United States. It's amazing. I could stand here for a very long time and tell you even more. And we want to do that. We want to share more as we go. But I want you to hear this. We were not looking for a new ministry. We had no reason to. This ministry found us. So think about it. Can you think of a time when God surprised you with a new calling, a new direction? But to be honest with you, today feels like the day I asked Tara's dad to marry her. I'm excited, but I'm a little unsure of how to break the news. There's a lot more to say. I'm afraid of rejection. I'm hopeful for your blessing. And it's hard because I like it here. I fit here. I love everybody here. And nothing's wrong. But here's what we can't unsee. Here's what we can't unexperience as a family. Foreign missionaries, they need the care pastor that this church built. The participants in this extended community of athletes that come on these tours, they need the discipleship pastor that Change Point built. This family that really this church has built and fortified is really a custom fit inside of this new ministry. It's like all of the years and all of the things that God has done has prepared us for this moment in this season. But here's the most important thing that we can't unsee and we can't unexperience. God's calling us. So here's the question. Would you be willing to release my family, release me and my family, so that we can bring life in Christ to the world beyond? Would you be willing?
So I've had the privilege, and sometimes it's been a bit of a burden, of walking with Michael and the family. No, just this last year, because he told me this a year ago, very early in him and Tara starting to have this surprise tug of the Lord. And I prayed against it for a long time, right? Lord, I know we have a vision of the world beyond, but sometimes God will take our best and deploy him to that aspect of our vision. I'm proud of you guys. I'm excited for you. It's hard, but it's good. And here's what you need to know. I had a whole year It's many of you, this is like most of you, this is the first time you've heard it. You've got some time. We have some time. Michael's going to be on staff collecting a paycheck all the way until June. And I'm going to work him hard. You need to, some of you are like, I need your care, Michael. Sign him up. Every slot in his calendar, fill it, baby. Fill it, because we're going to get,
Thanks, Scott.
Life in Christ for every Alaskan intel. No, seriously, I'm thankful for the journey you've allowed me to be on with you guys. And now you're allowing all of us to be part of it. Proud of you. We appreciate you. And we're gonna obviously send Michael off and the whole family off in a big way here in June or maybe May. And that'll be really fun to celebrate. We'll have the elders and pray and all that stuff. But for now, we're just inviting all of us to be part of this next stage of this journey and this process. You guys will be out in the Commons, right?
Yeah.
Go ask Michael questions about his new ministry, because it's kind of off the wall, which, if you know Michael, you'd expect nothing less. Innovative, cutting edge, love it. But let's get on our feet and let's join them in doing this. Meditate as we sing a final song, the words that are so applicable to the process God has you in and has all of us in with you. Let's worship.
To learn more about Ends of the Earth Cycling, visit endcycling.com. And to learn more about what's next for our family or support the work that God is calling us to, visit changepointalaska.com/Warrens.